So it was already there about, because and then there is another one on community as well as environments, because the learning then has to be very wide. It's not just about the technical skills, so upskilling is also some life skills. So that Axiata Cares, it says Axiata Cares for You comes up. So with that, how do we couple and make sure that the consistency and the availability? We were very lucky. My head of Axiata Fast Forward, which is our virtual university, accelerated the launch of all our academies. As an organization who wants to be the next generation of digital champions, we have prioritized our digital and technology academies, right? It's otherwise it'll be. But also, interestingly enough, we also put very early on the ways of working, how managers manage now under these evolving ways, key. We will always have the mandatory learnings of risk and compliance. Sales is very key. Enterprise is key. Finance, everybody. So we launched our 7 academies. So that allows people to learn what they want to learn when they want to learn. But it also has to be balanced what they need to learn. You hear a lot of literature and narrative and moves to say it is also the organization's responsibility to upskill. And we have moved completely into skills management, like skills learning, skills management, skills-based talent management. So everything has come to that. So we have also complemented in terms of knowledge sharing. Our curriculum is also built based on what are the competencies we want to build. What are the capabilities? So the curation of it is very key, Yasmin, apart from the platform. So the curation has to be very important. So on our Axiata Fast Forward, we have a platform. We evaluate such that the experience that when our people go in, they are excited. They hate this thing. They measure it by 1 click or 1 second, don't have a laggard effect and all these things. So that UI, UX is very, very key. So that platform, so that is about the knowledge. And we partner with, of course, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, many more, so that you can give targeted learning. Like you said, they want to learn what they want to learn and what they want to learn. So that's very key. But the other thing is also, we have also curated or rather put through a program. So we have the learning and the outcomes, but also getting the reward of getting nano degrees, micro credentials, because sometimes they say that university degree these days is only good upon entry, but how do you continuously grow and really perpetuate this continuous learning? Another thing that you touch is very, very important is that community and peer support. Wherever we have put digital learning, I have learned that the community, even if you build it on WhatsApp, is key. So for example, we launched what we call our Digital Citizen Program. So this was a pilot last year, but the community that asked simple questions like, where on earth do you find this? And to the next level of, what did you learn from this module? So that's another element, that having the community. And the other one, now we have really pushed our internal knowledge management platform called Axiata Intranet, Synapse, is really driving the organization towards a true knowledge management organization. You share, you put ideas. Yasmin, it's still a journey, because above all the things that you want to do is the mindset shift. Firstly, our people have to own their career as well. They will find time, make time. And towards that, when you say, how do we bring it? A small thing that we do in Axiata is, for example, Friday, we say Feel Good Friday. The idea is, please don't have meeting, let me finish my email, but also, can you please sign up for one of these programs that will help you in your job, will help you into interactions. So that's for us, is to bring about that knowledge upskilling and also bring capability and skills training.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Norlida. I think what I hear from you and what resonates the most with me is how you have to build a culture around learning overall, because in a distributed workforce where people are at different locations, different times, they don't get to meet each other, learn from each other in the the common usual way that we saw before. So how do you create a culture where people get inspired, as you said, to learn from each other, to learn for their own good, to learn for the organization? And for learning leaders, it is very important to understand the competencies that are now needed in the new world of working. The kind of skills that were relevant a few years ago are no longer relevant. So how do you keep upgrading that? How do you future proof your workforce for an uncertain future again? I think these are going to be very, very important. And digital learning, as you very rightly said, is the way right now. That's how you're trying to bring together and create a mindset of how people can learn anytime, anywhere, and curating that kind of content that works well for them. I think it's good. It's really, really important. So thanks for sharing that. So you talked about how you have accelerated digital learning during the past 1 year, specifically Norlida. If I may ask, what are some features that you would want to see in digital learning that can amplify this entire impact of learning, and especially in the context of your distributed workforce? What do you look forward to in the digital learning platforms?
Once you've passed that, everybody gets into this digital learning and can see the impact. And also the fact that it could be complemented by other things is, I think, perhaps being able to have a more virtual reality capability, because a lot of it now these days is, they call about it situational learning, right?
Yes.
So how do we take that situational learning and environment into a digital platform? I know right now there's some cost implications to it, but eventually we should be able to get this to a level that it becomes, I'm going to go to experience about, for example, if I'm doing risk management training, right? I want
Yes.
to have the experience, and you simulate courses that test you, rather than looking at a one-dimensional person doing animations. I know people have moved, but I think that's going to be quite cool, particularly with the new generation coming up. And who doesn't like gaming capability, right? So I think that platform must be able to support that. I think that's going to be very key. So I look for that, the ability to integrate. I believe that HR, the people function, needs to embed digitization, and using analytics. But
Yes.
these days, people like to work with not a big system, but part of another system of the total employee life cycle. How are they going to integrate seamlessly, right? Because you hear about platforms nightmares. This is the reality, Yasmin, right? So I'm
Yes.
going to I'm going to curate. I have a HR IT architecture. Always is like, where are the challenges of integration? If we see it completely from the employee's perspective, and they have this seamless experience, whether they were doing another part of HR, including learning, then it's very powerful. So of course, the other thing I talked earlier was that reinforcement via getting badges, micro credentials. And I believe organizations really need to celebrate learning. We need to push up there. It's not yet the natural thing, I feel, too. So one of the things that we want to, that we are doing, because we're pivoting it within the overall culture, is having that learning culture, eliciting that stimulus. I say, I want to learn more. So how do you provide all those stimulus via this platform? So the first thing that I asked recently, we put through, whenever you turn your computer, you go into our intranet.
Yes.
How about we ping and says, do you want to learn about this? Uh, Learning is in many forms, right? It's not just you sit there and take a test. You also learn about, like I said to you, people nowadays value learning about the society, learning about the environment. How
Yes.
do you how do you make it available that then you just see? So I believe the flow way of learning is not just on your technical skills, but really on a more holistic thing. So that's
Yes.
what I'm looking for when we partner for the platform,
Yes.
is that ability to deliver the employee what they are looking for, that experience.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Lonita. I think, as you said, holistic learning is not just one kind of a skill that your employees would like to learn. It's about what different skills, life skills, can you teach them along with technical skills. Very, very important. And while integration is very important, implementation is also very important. As you said, celebration. How do you celebrate learning and encourage people to learn more is going to be very important going forward. So, just before I close this video interview, one final question, Nolita. Uh, how are you now looking at measuring ROI for your learning interventions? Just a final question on that.
So mentioning the ROI is when we, this is the other change that has happened in the workplace.
Yes.
It's not just role based, it is much more project based, right?
Yes.
So I believe that the ROI is measured when I have a project, I'm able to, using a complementary system, say I want this skill set, this learning set happen, and the people can deliver the program. So a lot of the major things that we're doing are project based. So I measure the ROI is, I'd hate to say that it's number of days because I think we're past that. I think if we measure the capability and capacity via the talent management, that to me is a bigger ROI. We take, we promote within, we move people for projects because they want radical flexibility in what kind of jobs they do. And a lot of our businesses at the edge have used agile working, Yasmin, right? So there are a lot of it. So there's a very different structure that's being evolving in our organization. That to me is a metric when I can say that we have that capability. And because we have that capability, we have the capacity, right? The more skilled you get, the more you have the capacity. I'm not trying to say that we should work them like horses because I mean, work-life balance, mental well-being is so key in the new ways of working. So I do see learning in giving us a much enriched life, both professionally and personally.
Yes, absolutely, Nalda. Thank you so much. I think in the kind of world of work that we are now experiencing with people being distributed across, I think it's very, very important to create that kind of a learning journey which motivates people to learn digitally, which motivates people to learn from each other and at their own pace, at their own time with the flexibility, but overall have that mindset to learn because it is for the good for everyone. So, on that note, thank you so much, Nalda, for sharing these great insights. I'm sure these stories, these lessons you shared will help our readers go back and look at their learning journeys and how they can recreate the strategy for their learning agenda. So, thank you for that, Nolida.